Hi, I'm Lou with another episode of My Car Story, and my friend Dan Gallas is with me, and Dan's got a great car for you. Dan, what year, make, and model is this one?
We have, Lou, a 1967. It's a Pontiac GTO.
Convertible.
Convertible,
Take
absolutely.
a look at this one. So come on right along with me. Dan, how long have you had this car?
I've had the car for about 4 years. Purchased it from a collector up in Detroit, Michigan. And it's really been a lifelong dream. I've had Pontiacs since I was younger, had Trans Ams. My brother had a Trans Am, I had a Trans Am, and the goal was always to acquire a GTO at some point in time. So I've had it for about 4 years.
And they really did a great job on the 67. I really like that grille and the grating there. You know, this was right before they changed the whole body style. Come alongside me. Now, how did you know you needed a 67? Was that like the goal? You love this body style, a Coke bottle?
Well, you know what? It's a combination. Number one, I was born in '67, so you can't go too wrong with the '67. The '66, I always loved the rear end of the '66, which had the louver taillights, but I always liked the front end of the '67, which had the metal mesh front.
Yeah, the metal mesh is nice.
So the metal mesh front is pretty much what kind of carried me from a 66 over to a 67. The emblems on the side on the rocker panels are lower. They're they're about 10 inches off the ground, and on the 66 they're actually on the panel right above here.
Got it.
So it's a little cleaner lines.
The all important, you know, when we were kids, it must be like being a kid today when they see a Challenger, they're looking for the Hellcat logo or the Demon logo. We were always looking for the GTO versus the Tempest or the Le Mans.
Yep, exactly.
So come on over here.
The GTO emblems, to me, was always where it's at. In '66, that is when Pontiac offered the GTO as its own model, where in prior years, the Tempest and the Le Mans was, the GTO was was a package that you could order. But 66 moving on, the GTO became its own model.
Okay, well, we're going to take a look. We've got some trunk and treats for you. So here we have our trunk and treats. We've got some collector plates here. I can see the Indian Uprising, the Gur from the Tiger. I like that plate. And this is a window sticker of your car?
Yeah, that is it's a reproduction of the Pontiac MSRP sticker of what the car left the plant with. This car came out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Isn't that cool? And then we've got some time period correct thermos information here. Tell me what we have here.
Well, here we have a magazine called Car from July of '66, and it's doing an expose on the 66 Pontiac GTO, but also, as most car nuts are aware, Ferrari had a GTO from, I believe, '62 to '64, and it was a GTO, and they did not have the name copyrighted. Thus Pontiac was able to run with the GTO name in '64. That is the original Protecto plate warranty package that came with the car, and then the original owner's manual, and then Car and Driver magazine featuring the car as well.
Important safety features. We won't look through the entire brochure, but that's really cool. Be super. Your station wagon. So it's featuring all the cars of that year. You can see your Pontiac, your Tempest, your GTO pulling your trailer. I'm sure it can. All lubrication, that's great.
Just
and this,
hitch, right?
This one?
Yeah, that's Car and Driver from March 1966, which was featuring a variety of models for that year. The Cutlass 442 and the Pontiac and a Chevelle 396, all
nice.
That Skylark.
Good for only GTA. All right, we'll take a look at our jack usage there. And we're back. May I open it?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yourself.
So as we open it, a nice creamy interior. What's the outside color of this car?
The outside color it's a unique color. It's called Mariner Turquoise.
Mariner Turquoise.
And
that's a good
in
one.
'67 they had 4 or 5 different renditions of blue, but this is one of those color schemes that just really pops, especially with the parchment convertible top and the parchment interior. And
has a pearl look to it.
yes, it does. Yeah, and
Wow.
the seats, you know, pop up, go forward.
Now did they see our logo there? Let's just show we have the Pontiac Motor Division there.
Yeah, and I will mention one thing. There's roughly 1,300 miles on since the engine was completely rebuilt. It is
Nice.
a numbers matching vehicle.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's very nice. Was that a requirement for you, or you wanted to
you know
have the
what?
feeling of the
really-
original?
Yeah, it kind of was a requirement. You know, always sought out something that was numbers matching, at least for resale purposes, and kind of a historian of keeping everything as it, you know, was delivered. So
Yeah.
this car was delivered out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Always enjoyed the grab bar handle there with the letters GTO right in it, so people were like, they knew exactly as a passenger. Which is, what do they call this? The His and Hers shifter? Or?
Yeah, they made about 81,067 GTOs, of which I believe it was 60,000 or so were automatics. It was called the Hurst. This was the first year for the Hurst His and Hers. I call it a click shifter, but the His and Hers 3-speed turbo hydromatic.
Yeah.
And so it was marketed as the weekend warrior car for the husband, father, and during the week, you know, for the 3-speed, and then during the week, if trips to the grocery store and whatnot were required, it went into an automatic mode. So that just kind of gives you an indication as to where the sales and marketing campaigns were back in the 60s.
Right. Let's take a look under the hood, shall we?
Sure.
The arrowhead there. Oh, that looks great.
Yeah, and the engine is, as I mentioned earlier, the original engine, it was rebuilt approximately 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a 400 cubic inch engine. At the time, this was the 4-barrel carburetor that it came with it. The air cleaner is different. And it was rated at 335 horsepower. And this car was also delivered with, as I mentioned, power steering, power brakes, power top, and the tilt was added by a previous owner. But yeah, no, it's a fun car, and I've added a few extra components to it relative to the radiator and whatnot, and cleaned it up.
Let's fire it up, shall we?
You bet.
There's always the enjoyment of the Pontiac rumble. So we'll let it idle, and then we'll give it a good rev. Let me listen to that idle. We hear that low. Just let it idle for a second, Dan. Listen to that drum beat. Well, you can put the baby to sleep on that one. Go ahead, Dan, give it a rev. Give it one good one. That's what we're talking about. we're both smiling like little kids. Let's take this for a ride.
Sounds good. Jump on in.
All right, the GTO, how's it feel?
Feels incredible.
Get turned on.
There's nothing better than the wind in your hair with a 400 cubic inch engine in front of you.
We're like two little kids, right?
Absolutely.
Got the full-size Hot Wheel. First of all, I want to say to you, congratulations for getting your dream car. I mean, a lot of people, want to get their dream car. I know I want to get my dream car. And it's nice that you stayed focused. And you mentioned your brother also had a lot of Pontiacs. What did he think when he first saw your car?
Oh, well, he loved it. He loved it. He had a 78 Gold Anniversary Edition Trans Am.
Okay.
So, and I had a 75 Trans Am. So when he saw it, amongst a lot of other family members, they fell in love with it. And no, it's been a lifelong passion. I am very blessed. I have to pinch myself. You don't get rumble like that out of today's electric cars.
No, you don't get the rumble out of this that you get from this one. That's one thing. I'm glad you said that. I want to just show people this view. This is great. That's the one great thing about these cars is the sound. I mean, it's just unmistakable. Just such a great sound. With that nice little water back there. We'll go up a little bit. We'll turn around for them, but.
Yeah, and back in '67, I mean, they made 81,000 of these cars, so there's plenty of them still. And they made 9,517 convertibles, and
how many convertibles?
9,517.
Yeah. But it's always still great to see one, and you just don't see. I guess that's the beauty of it. Anything you don't see that often, it's a little more exciting.
It is.
Show me how this first, second, third works too while we got the moment. All right.
So it's an automatic mode.
Well, let me take one step. There's this right here, which kind of cuts that off.
Right.
So you open this up. Go ahead. It pushes open.
Right, and then there's your first, and you'll see the name Hurst on the side.
Yeah. Go ahead. So there's
and then you're gonna.
It's kind of the manual stick shift kind of feel to it.
It's kind of like the best of both worlds.
Well, the manual automatic.
Yeah,
maybe I should
manual
say
automatic.
That. Yeah, like the manual automatic. Go ahead.
In today's cars, they have all the, not only the push button shifters, but Tiptronic on your steering column.
Yeah.
But this was back in the day. This was like a revolutionary transmission. A lot of the purists will tell you that you got to have a 4-speed. It was one of those things. If it came with a 4-speed, great. But there were a bunch of other options I really wanted to have as far as my check the box list, and this color was amazing. So it didn't have to be a 4-speed. But this is the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, Dan, what a treat being with you. Thanks so much for being on my car story. What a real joy.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Lou. Thanks, Lou.